Hey there. Okay, today what I want to talk to you about, and it's been on my mind. I've heard it from some clients this week, and this is something that I don't want to say I struggle with, but something that I have to be intentional about uh, each day, each week to stay aligned. And so I want to talk about the difference between excellence and good enough and don't even bother. And if you're somebody who has really high standards for how you show up as a leader, as a parent, in the tasks and work you do, if you value excellence, if you really care about doing great work and delivering on others' expectations and your own expectations that you have for yourself, this will be for you. Now, something that when I started my business, I got a lot of feedback or advice that, do a B plus, good enough, good enough. That's what you do. And for me, I really struggled with that because I don't do B plus. I don't ever set out for a B plus, or back then I didn't at least. And it might turn out a B plus, but I'm always shooting for the A plus, as good as it can be. And that is something that, as you become more intentional with your time and your focus, you're going to have to step away from that. However, we still want to give our excellence, our very best, our A game to the things that matter most or are most important. And then start to go, okay, well, what is good enough and what can go there? Because if we bring our A game to everything, you are going to likely feel overwhelmed and most of us don't have the capacity for that. And so I really struggled with that B plus advice because that is not how I operate. That's not how I want to show up with clients as a parent in the work I do. What did help me is a few years later, I got some advice because this was something I really struggled and I was bringing my best to everything. Or I tried to. Like I said, there's lots of times it failed, it flopped, it didn't turn out well, but I always brought that intention. And I got some other really good advice was, uh, excellence is okay. Like that was one thing is I started to think maybe this is a flaw. Maybe my high standards are, dressed up as perfectionism or getting in the way. And I got advice is that no, excellence is good. High standards is good. But I can't bring it to everything. And so, because that will burn you out if you do, or you'll always feel like you're not doing a good enough job. And so for me, I really, when thinking of priorities and what to focus on, had to start being like, okay, what gets excellence and what doesn't? And so this ties in, you don't have to do it all. Things do not need to be perfect, but it is being more intentional with that. And so if you're someone who is already overwhelmed, you have so much on the go, you're like just saying yes to too many things. The problem with that is one, it doesn't feel very good and leaves you feeling burnt out, but you get your attention spread thin across things. So you have only so much energy and attention and focus, and it gets put across way too many things. So instead of getting that level of excellence that you desire, or truly moving the needle on the things that matter, is that you end up just kind of doing a good enough job on a whole bunch of different things. If you are somebody who really values excellence and want to do good work and move the needle on the things that matter, that's not going to feel very good. And so if you're in that place right now, there is the step to step back and start to get clear on the things that are matter most important, like your top three. And so this is how I help manage that is, and I've talked to you about the carry-on analogy. It's in the book. I shared it in an email. If you're not sure what I mean by that, just let me know, and I'm happy to reshare that with you. But that we don't want to bring everything along. We have to take some time to get clear on the things that do really matter and what are those things that matter less. And when you're doing that, then looking at, okay, here are the things that really matter. And then go, what are your top three? And this is what I do. What are your top three? And I know you're going to do more than three, but what are the top three for your month, for your week, for your day? And so if you look at that and your top three are like, what's really going to move the needle? Now, this will change. Your priorities will change depending on the season you're in. Sometimes it depends how your week is going. If something unexpected happened, if a kid is sick or something happens or a team member is off that you didn't plan for, you need to adjust things. So your priorities can change. But if you do look at what are the top three, not just the to-dos, what truly are those top three that will move the needle? And then that's what gets your A game. So it can be in your work. It can be in your personal life. It can be what really helps you. But bring your excellence to that, your top things. Then what is good enough? And again, I'm just sharing what helps me. Maybe you have a different way to think about this, but what helps me. So the things that are my top three in my work, the top three things that I need to get done for my week, for my day, they get my excellence, and also the people that are most important. So my husband and kids, they get my best. I have higher standards in that. My clients, they get my best. I have high standards in that. If I am showing up for a speaking presentation, I have high standards that gets my best. Then there might be other things that are priority on that list that, ideally they get my excellence, they get my best. However, sometimes things take longer than planned or something unexpected happens and you need to shift. And that's where it can go into, because the trap I can get into is I go, it gets my A game. And if I can't bring my A game, I don't do it. And then it sits there and it sits there and I don't move forward the things that matter. And so there are some non-negotiables. Like I said, clients, showing up for a speaking engagement, my husband and kids, that how I show up and be present with people, that always I hold to a high standard no matter what. Sometimes we all have off days and we don't show up in the way we want and we have to grant ourselves grace, but that always, always is the bar for me. But then there's some tasks where, doing some follow up with people and stuff where I thought, oh, I'd have more time for that. Or social media, ideally I'm bringing my A to that, but something might happen. I don't have much time in the week. And then it's flipping into the something is better than nothing. And so how can it be like good enough that it still meets your standards? Like I'm not going to put out crap or just, put something in AI to say, like, it's never about checking a box. And I'll just go to social media. If I post something on LinkedIn, I could do that very easily, just putting something in AI and saying, spit me out a post and I could post it. Well, that's not good enough. I want it to be authentic voice, something I think that'll help people. However, I can do that in a much simpler way. I could reuse something I already shared. I could not overthink it and just write what I want to share. And so there is that what is good enough. And the idea that can really help with that is something is better than nothing. And so the things that are good enough in my life right now is exercise. An example for that. So for me, I walk every day. That's kind of a non-negotiable. Stand up, not sit at my desk all day, move around, like get those mini breaks in the day. That's something I've been doing for years and very good. Recently, or this year, I'm getting a little older. I want to pay attention to my health more, feeling a little more stiff. And so I started going to the gym again because I wanted to prioritize health. That going to the gym does not get my excellence. It is a very much what is good enough. And so a lot of times I don't want to go. So I'm like, something is better than nothing. And I show up and I do it and I feel good after, but I am not going into it with this mindset that I got to get it right, or here's a rigid schedule, or, I got to get all my reps in. It's like something is better than nothing. And I usually end up doing most of my workout by stay with it, but it is a good enough. It is not getting the A game. And then there's other things like, feeding our family. Like it is like what we need food on the table, somewhat healthy, but that's the bar. It's not like this, gourmet meals, and I just don't want to spend my time doing that. And so those examples might resonate with you, they might not. But my point is that when you're clear on here's what gets my excellence, here's what gets my A game, not everything. You will tap out, you will not have capacity if you try to do it, and you'll always feel like you're failing or not doing a good enough job. However, what you also don't want to do is be so spread thin that everything's just getting kind of mediocre, because you're not going to feel very good. You're going to feel out of alignment. It's not going to leave you feeling fulfilled and like you're making a difference. So getting clear on what are those top priorities. And it takes some time to do this. If you are overwhelmed and you don't know what that is, put an hour or two on your calendar to just brain dump everything you need to do and get clear on what those priorities are. But get clear on that. That's what gets your A game. That's what moves the needle. Then it is, okay, what are the things that are still important, but they are good enough? You're not going to be hard on yourself. It's just something is better than nothing. It is good enough. And that moves things forward. You can also bring that idea if you have those top priorities and you are short on time, something is better than nothing. So ideally you bring your excellence. If you can't, what is good enough, so that you keep moving something forward. And then what I also want to talk about is the don't bother. Don't bother. The things that don't matter as much, or maybe you don't have as much time for and you got to say no to now. We also need to really be intentional of looking at what do you need to say no to? What do you need to take off your plate? Because there's always something, and there's always a trade-off for your time and attention. And so being okay to go, okay, I thought I could get to this. I thought I'd have time for it, but you don't have time. And yes, you could do good enough, or you could really step back and go, you know what? I just don't have capacity for this. This will be okay. I'm going to leave it. But you don't want to drop the things that matter less. That's the thing, is when life gets really busy or something unexpected happens, we want to get closer to the heart of what really matters. We don't want to drop the most important things. We want to get closer to it. And again, if you are not, want some extra help with doing that, you can read it in the book, send me a note. I'll forward you an email that I've already shared on that. But we want to get closer to the heart of what really matters. You want to do the most important tasks at work and drop those things that matter less. You want to make sure that you're prioritizing the things that matter most in your relationships, in your personal life, and drop the things that matter less. You want to do the things that help you feel good and take care of your own well-being. Prioritize those and drop the things that, ideally, if you had time for, you would do, but drop them. And, that takes some intention, that takes some awareness, but the clearer you are on what your true priorities are, not the list of 10, 20, it's like, what are your top 3? That helps guide your choices. That helps keep you getting closer to the heart of what really matters. And again, I know you're going to do more than just those 3, but we want to make sure we have time and attention for that. And that's another thing, is like paying attention to what works for you and what doesn't. So I know the things that need my A game, the earlier I do those in the day, the better. Not so much a coaching with a client or something, I can show up good for that later in the day. But if I have a task, if I have something that needs my thinking, needs my best work, if I leave that to the end of the day, it either doesn't get my best thinking or fresh thinking, or I just don't end up doing it, and then I don't move forward those things that matter. And so I know for me, I have a better chance. Like when I'm doing a video for you, doing it earlier in the day has a better chance that I actually follow through and I do it and I share with you what I want to share, or social media, or preparing for a speaking engagement. And so pay attention to what works for you, and don't be hard on yourself. Like I could be, oh my goodness, I didn't get this done today. I suck. And I don't go there. It's like, okay, this was important. I didn't get to it. I need to bring my best. How do I do? Okay, I know if I get it done first thing in the morning, I am far more likely to follow through and bring my best to it. And so that is part of it. Then also just being okay. This is the final thing I just want to leave you with, is like being okay that things aren't perfect. I'm sharing this video with you, and I'm sure I say some ums, and I could sit there and I could edit it and I could edit it out and I could make this more polished for you. I don't want to do that. I want to share the message. I want to bring it to you. And so there's a little bit of, hey, this is good enough to share, but it also, it does need to meet a certain level. And do I think this is valuable for you to hear? Will this help? Yes. Okay, let's share it. And so just understanding you don't have to do it all. You don't have to do it perfectly. If you try to bring your excellence to everything, you will feel overwhelmed. You will feel like you're failing and it'll be hard to do. So get clear on what are those things that matter most. That gets your A game. And then what are the higher standards? And then what are the things that can be good enough? Or if you're short on time, good enough. And then also go, what just don't bother with, or you thought you could do, but you can't, and be okay to take that off your plate. You're going to free up mental energy and you're going to have more time and space to focus on those things that do matter more. Also, knowing our best will look different on different days. You won't always be the high performer you want to be, or the best leader you want to be, or the best parent you want to be. We all have days like that. It's just understanding that, giving yourself grace, but also the clearer you are on what are those things that matter more, you are more likely to show up in a better way for them. And, knowing what is good enough, and that's all right too. So I would love to hear if you want to share what was something that you took away from this that can help you, that can serve you. And what are you going to do walking away from this to be more intentional with your time and your attention, and giving yourself that grace that, hey, it's not going to be perfect. You're not going to do it all. Let's be more intentional what matters most, and let's start to let go or be okay what's good enough, or something's better than nothing, or even don't bother. All right, love to hear from you. Thanks.